the Expanse level, one of 3 different levels that ship with the Lyra project. And I'm just gonna jump right in and play the game. So I'll click the play button and boom, we're playing Lyra inside the editor. And I know there's a bot waiting for me up here and he's gonna try to get the shotgun and I can't let that happen because it won't go well for me. Come on, I can do this. Okay, well, saw that coming. It's probably gonna happen a lot throughout this demo. Now, what we're gonna be focusing on is how we can take this level and modify it and really start to make Lyra our own. But before we do that, I wanna call out the lighting. This level is lit primarily with just the sunlight. As a matter of fact, if I move the sun around, you can see how Lumen just takes that light and naturally bounces it around the scene. And the light is influenced by the surfaces it hits. So if I was to take the floor, for example, and just drag and drop a new material on it, like red, for example, you can now see there's red light bouncing around the scene. And if you really just want to crank it up to 11, I could drag and drop like this neon green color that I imported from the early 90s. And you can see that the sunlight hits that and floods the whole scene with green light. Now, I would never leave it that way because that looks awful. Now, in addition to bounce light, Lumen also allows us to illuminate our scenes using emissive materials. So here's a ball that has an emissive material on it, and it is casting light into the scene, but it's hard to see with all this sunlight. So let's just take the sun and tuck it up underneath the level. And now you can see that the ball actually is casting light, and there is no light actor there. This is all happening by way of the material, thanks to Lumen. In fact, if I take the material and change its color, we can change the color of the light. And if I increase that emissive value, we can actually flood the scene with more light and in the process make a sphere that's actually painful to look at. Now that light is dynamic. You can see as I move the ball around, that lighting is following along. So let's take a look at modifying our level. I'll just tuck the ball up here into the corner and let's bring the sun back. Now, Lyra was designed from the ground up for you to build your own games on, and to help with that, we've created a series of tools to help you out. So this looks like a regular static mesh of a window that I just duplicated off the back wall, but actually this is a procedural mesh. So if I get it into the middle of the room and then right-click on it and go to Scripted Actor Actions, I can swap this out to its generated mesh. And now we can see a selection of handles that I can move around, and you see how that updates the object. So I can move the window around inside the shape. And if I go over to the Details panel, I can increase the wall's width. We could increase its height. We could actually adjust, and you know what? Let's take the opening and we'll change it to make this into like a bunker that I can kind of hide behind to give me some protection from these bots. So we'll make that narrow, we'll slide it down a little bit. Maybe I'll increase the width by just a little. And when I'm done, I just need to convert this into a regular static mesh. I'll do that by clicking Generate New Static Mesh and then right-click and choose Swap to Static Mesh, and boom, this is a mesh just like any other that you'd use to build a level. Now, of course, we're not limited to just duplicating existing meshes. If I wanted to, I can bring in fresh ones from the Tools menu that's included in the Lyra install, and you'll find that this is full of a series of these procedural tools that are all built using Blueprint on top of the already existing modeling tools in the Unreal Editor. So I can bring in this panel and just move this handle around to quickly drag out a ceiling for our little bunker. And if I'm happy with that, just right-click and swap that over to a static mesh. Now, I do need a way to get up here, which I'll admit, the whole thing was just an excuse for me to show you this really cool procedural stairway. So if I drag this in, check it out. I'm gonna rotate it around and aim it where it needs to go. And then we're gonna move it way far back, and obviously these stairs leave a little bit to be desired in terms of where they're going, but if I grab the handle in the upper corner, watch this. We can increase their length, and we can increase their height, and the system just automatically generates stairs for me. So boop, we'll just connect those right up, maybe make a couple of quick edits. There we go, that looks pretty good. And we can also make them wider, so we'll just slide that out like so. I don't know why it needed a sound effect, but for some reason I feel like it did. Now we can also change the number of stairs as well. So I can take the step height and you can see I can adjust that. We can make these into floating stairs. Let's make sure that they are creating some collision. And I have to mention this because it makes me so fundamentally happy. But if you get right down on the stairs, we can actually turn on bevel and we can add just a little bit of bevel to the edge of the stairs, which really helps when the light hits them just so. If we're done, if we're happy, we can just right click and go back to scripted actor actions, swap that out to a static mesh, and there we go. We've built a new part of the level. Of course, it does have this really cool prototyping grid material, but let's make it fit the scene just a little bit better. We'll add some color to it. We'll bring in some red for the top area, and we'll make the stairs blue because that's what I have handy. And there we go. Now, it'd be great if I also had some armaments, and we have access to the entire gameplay library that makes Lyra. So here is a weapon spawner. And by the way, this is defined entirely in Blueprint. So if I wanted to open this up and change its behavior, I could. I wouldn't even have to write a line of code, but all I'm going to do is change some settings. So let's take the weapon definition and we'll set that over to rifle, and I'll take the color and set it over to pink so that everybody knows that this is my rifle and I'm the only one who gets to use it. And if I wanted to, we could just test this out. So let's hit play, and I'll quickly run up the steps. And I know that bot is coming, I can feel it. Come on. Okay, oh, they went upstairs. All right, well, let's take our bunker. We'll grab our rifle. Now I got cover, here we go. Yeah, that's right, come on, come on. I don't know why I'm adding sound effects, I can't help it. But see, there you go, just like that, I was able to change the overall flow of the level from something very open and frenetic to some place where I have cover, where I can pick up a weapon and really try to control the situation. And I did that using procedural tools that are already included with Lyra. Now, of course, we're not limited to that. We have the entire Epic Games ecosystem. We have the marketplace, we have Sketchfab, we have Quixel Bridge, there's even ArtStation, and you can bring in content from those and really make Lyra look like anything you want it to be. So here's a statue that we actually had from a previous project, so I could just drag this in. And of course this looks great, it has a lot of fantastic detail, but it doesn't quite fit the overall flow of Lyra, so let's just fix that. I'll just drag a new material on it. Surely no art director would have a problem with that. But the point is that you can just add whatever content your heart desires and really start turning your Lyra levels into anything you want them to be. So now you've seen how you can build your own games and experiences inside of Lyra.